Thank you for joining me on Living One Day Older Network. It's a LinkedIn series that we produce 12 noon every Saturday, Eastern Standard Time. Our network attracts your more mature 50 plus audience, people like me. And today I have a very special guest who is so well-rounded, and she is a visionary that comes from being a mechanic to the arts and a masseuse to the world of finance and almost everything in between. Let's bring her on. This is Miss Jessica Dawson. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, how are you doing? And I want to thank you for having me on your podcast.
It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure, and I'm actually honored to have you on. Thank you so much for taking the time. About your exciting new revolutionary tipping app to help others invest in their future. So take it away, Jessica. Let's start there.
So to give people a background, I'm a native Orlandoinian. I went to the University of Florida, studied real estate and urban analysis, which is heavy eco and heavy finance. And I created a mobile application that will assist people with their finances in the future.
The app is something that you and I spoke of right off the bat because I come from the hospitality industry. I can appreciate the retail industry as well. Being now that I'm over my 50s and very concerned about my finances being, in alignment with the needs that I have, growing forward with time is what I call aging.
Yes.
I would love for you to talk about this incredible app that allows the service industry in such ease at investing into their future, such ease.
So most of your people are above 50. I'm above 50 as well. Mm-hmm. And when we get to a certain age and we start to look back, we all can see where we went wrong. And then we turn around and we try to tell the younger people, hey, do it this way. And they go, no, I'm not going to. I know everything because I just graduated from. But if you look at where you are now, that is not the information that you have today. If you had what you had today and went back to you when you were 21, you would do things completely different. And looking at the service industry, and you're also looking at the people in retail, most of those people are not, their financial literacy is not very high. They might not have gone to school. They're in school. They're building their lives. And what do they do for finances? What are they planning for their future? If you're a waiter and you're getting money, what do you do with your money? You spend it because you don't know how to. Either you're buying an asset or you're buying a liability. People don't know what to buy because no one is taught this in high school. So what FISK Mobile Tipping does, it is a tipping and gratuity application that the money that is received by the person that is giving the service is split. So let's say, Amy, I am going to tip you $100. I can give you cash, or I can run it on a credit card. That's how we've always done it. And then at the end of the shift, you either get cash, you might go out afterwards and spend it because it's just cash. Well, that's a problem. With FISK Mobile Tipping, it's like a peer-to-peer payment platform like Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. Even adding one of those into this three system of cash, credit card, and the peer-to-peer payment platform, money always goes from me into you, and then you have to do something with it. Human beings are not disciplined. So this application, FISK, F-I-S-K, when I tip you, the money goes to you and splits automatically. The smallest split is a 95-5 split. So that means that if I tip you the $100, $95 is going to land on a virtual debit card that we issue. The other $5 or 5% would land in the investment account of your choosing that you link up to the mobile application. There's one or two licenses I do not have, so I cannot recommend exactly where to put your money. I have to disclose that. I do have one financial license that I'm studying to get my other one. I got my real estate license as well.
And insurance.
Yes. So it is, I can only explain what I have a license for. But if you linked it up to a Roth IRA and I went to tip you, when I do this and it goes through that split, am I not altering your future? I want you to have a financial future. A Roth IRA is better than a 401k, and we can go on for a long time on this one. It's either you're paying the taxes on the seed or you're paying taxes on the fruit.
I want to ask you, is it just for the service industry or people who are being tipped, or can you use this app in any other application, such as rounding up at the store to put into a investment
It's
or any
very
other?
interesting that you asked that question. It's your niche market. Well, you have to have one, and ours is a tipping and gratuity. So if you perform, I don't care what service you're performing, you could use this mobile application. Now, there's my friends who are in the theater. They go perform. The box office is the one that gets all the money. They're on stage. And in the future, there would be a QR code in the playbill that you could scan that QR code. And if that person moved you and you wanted to make sure that they were going to continue on their dream and have a retirement, because if it's going into an account and compounding by micro investing, it's growing, compounding. Most everybody wants to get rich immediately. That's not the case.
Yeah, you mentioned the theater group. Something that came to mind was when we both live in Orlando, and I was at a concert recently, and a lot of these smaller venues, there's some great music out there with aging musicians still playing around the country. And I actually purchased the merchandise out front because I wanted to support the musicians, because we both know that when you pay for a ticket, it goes to the venue, which is fine because the venue has insurance to pay on and employees and real estate. We get it. But I also want to make sure that the musicians are getting a little extra. So, you speak of the theater group, I could see also small concert venues. And, we share the town with a really great performance troupe called the Fringe.
Yes.
So they would be beneficial for this. So
with FISK mobile tipping, we are going to have links that will have different explanations of different investments, why you're doing this, why you're doing that. There will be related videos that will land on either TikTok, they will land on YouTube. It is a tool to teach people finance. In my mind, if our country knew more about finance, and today is the last day of April, which is the financial literacy month, and I put a few things out there over on LinkedIn and on Facebook about understanding finance. It's simple. You don't have to know that if you spend more money than you take in, now you're going to run into a problem. But you also need to know how the rich people look at money. And if you don't read a book about how they see it in a completely different way. And they're leveraging debt in order to, do what they want to do. So they're not worried if the economy does what it's doing because they're leveraged. You can read books from Dave Ramsey to Tony Robbins and everything in between. And everybody is focused on different niches. And I read a book about every 3 days.
You also have Double Nickel Productions. Does that have to do with finance world as well?
Yes, Double Nickel Productions, and you'll notice that I do have the number 5s every. Double Nickel Productions, everybody wants to do their own thing and market their way. So if you're going to show what you can do, you kind of want to have that production company. But have I ever owned a production company before last year? No. What did I do? I partnered with a person who owns another production company, Sarah Martin, who has Silent Envy Productions. She has 3 movies under her belt. She has 6 documentaries, and we hired her, partnered with her to make the documentary on Nicole and I and how we created a mobile application that basically alters the future of the country and then the world. Because if our government is pulling money from the future, well, when we get there into the future, are we broke? Yes. If people aren't sending their own money into the future, they're going to have an issue. We've got Social Security, which is this group money. Well, that group money, they keep spending it, and there's nothing in it. It's a system that was designed with good intentions, but has caused a massive problem. And my way, or my concept of is using FISK mobile tipping. Every time you receive money, you're sending money into your future, into your own account where nobody else is going to touch it. So when you get into the future, you have money there. Now, there's all kinds of aspects of different investment tools. What are the elite using? Well, that's where I went and found out. And I do that presentation one-on-one and explain to people this is what they're doing. This is how they create generational wealth. And it's not what most people are using.
You know, I was reviewing the Financial Drag Show, and of course I landed on April Fresh.
The easiest way I can explain it is if you've never seen a drag performance, they are in comedy a lot of times. And a lot of times they are just in dance, and they do shows. They're entertainers is what they are.
Very much so. Very much
and
so.
They go into the audience and they go out there and they take the little cash from everybody, and everybody's giving ones or twos. Well, at the end of the day, or at the end of the show, they've got a stack of $1 bills. Well, if that person that is performing is using their right brain to use for creativity, a lot of times their left brain doesn't have that logic to where do I put my money? With FISK mobile tipping, they'd be able to walk up to the bar manager, hand that bar manager the $1 bills. The bar manager pulls out his app and goes, okay, boom. Before that person leaves the venue, that money is on its way to the debit card and on the way to basically a retirement account. So I'm giving all of my friends who do not have a retirement account with what they're using, either with cash or they're using some of the other peer-to-peer payment platforms. But this is automatic, and it's micro investing, and it's a motivational tool as well. You know, $1 or $2 out of $5 is, if it goes off to your investment account, that's what you want to do every day.
Sure. It's all about percentages, isn't it? You know, making sure that you're putting a percentage away for your future, because if we're lucky enough, the future will come. And when it comes, we want to be comfortable and prepared, right? So I want to honor your time.
Fast.
And it comes fast, everybody. So you know, they say there is the 20s and the 30s are really important eras in one's life. So don't waste it on the next cocktail, or, you know, have a cocktail, but don't have 4, you know, put that money away and for your future, because it comes fast. And Jessica, I want to honor your time because I know you're really busy with your app and building up your business over there. So I would love to have a closing. Do you have a book that you would recommend us?
The way you're going to go look at a lot of books that have habits. And as a life coach, it's learning to know that your thoughts are controlling your reality. And well, if your thoughts don't control your habits, well, you've got bad habits, and your bad habits are making you spend money where they doesn't belong. Should I be liable for your bad habits? So I look at these 7 Habits of Highly Effective People being a phenomenal book, but I also looked at Mind Hacking Happiness, Volume 1 and Volume 2. This goes into meditation. Meditation is critical. They've done it since the early days in multiple locations around the world. Even if you look in the Bible, meditate, you can actually learn how to stop your thoughts.
I love that very much. One of the books that I'm listening to, I'm very audible. I love listening to books, is Evolve Your Brain by Joe Dispenza. And
yes,
I absolutely love his quantum physics, because this isn't make-believe fantasy. This is reality and factual and science-based. And we're just now tapping into, being able to follow the data on these techniques, whereas before they just knew because they it was part of the faith. But now they can actually follow the data with scientific resources. So
There has been data that has, I don't want to say been withheld from people, but it has been. And if you go back to the hieroglyphs and the pyramids, that's what they're showing people, how to believe in something through your pineal gland. And you see the vision, you take that vision when you're manifesting something, you write it down, you make a game plan. So you're bringing out of this ethereal world, which is where Nikola Tesla thought everything came from, pulling it into this reality, and you're creating, like the creator out of the Bible. You're creating something. In my mind, Jesus was in this same realm. Neville Goddard, The Complete Reader, that is a fascinating book. That is his description of the Bible is a way to manifest your reality by shedding off of your bad habits, dying, and the next day you are resurrected anew. And it's a way to show the history of how this stuff was passed down. And we told in the old days, we didn't have digital stuff to write stuff down. We told it through stories. Right. And well, when they told the story, a lot of people think it's literal. It's not. It's parable.
Metaphorical speaking. Yeah, really allows us to visually experience a story without it being literal.
Yes. Back then, a lot of times men were the only ones that had the knowledge. Women weren't allowed to do a lot of things. In my life, I have, not if everybody doesn't know and figured out yet, that I am transgender. And I have lived a majority of my life hanging out with the guys and doing the guy things. And when I transition now, I live and I hang out with all the women. There is not a lot of difference when it comes to smarts. It's their habits, their system that they see that they can do just as much as the guys can. Yeah. But a lot of times the guys, they don't understand women, because women, they've been dealing with emotions, and emotions are powerful.
We could really talk so much more about so many different topics, I could tell. And you're in a couple of groups that I'm in on LinkedIn. Brain expansion, I think, is one of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would highly suggest people to pay attention to the groups that you're in, what kind of messaging is coming out of it, and pay attention to your habits. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I would like to say thank you to everybody.